Growing up here was always very active, very hectic, and school was very enjoyable because we had very conscientious teachers who, like your parents, took very good care of you. So when you were at school, you were in the hands of people who made sure that you performed at your best. And when you came home, they made sure that you worked as hard as you could. And out of that came, a kind of life which I'm very happy with and very proud of.
Keith is from Mason Hall in Tobago, and that's what he would call the country area of Tobago because the town was Scarborough. And he grew up in Mason Hall. He grew up with his grandparents who adored him and he adored them. They are both now deceased, but he talks constantly of them.
My grandfather operated a mule-drawn sugar mill on the site in Sandy River, in the village at bank of the river. And at that time, sugarcane cultivation was a major activity in this area because we grew cocoa, coconuts, and sugarcane. And a lot of farmers would grow sugarcane in the Belmont, Sandy River area. And my grandfather had this mill which was operated by mules, and it's a mule-drawn mill. And he operated that for a while until I must have been about 8 years old. And there was an accident in the yard where a truck went over his foot. And he had to be hospitalized for a little while. And then after that, he sold the mill. And then the mill was dismantled and taken out of the village. And that was the end of the sugar industry here in Mason Hall.
Tobago shaped his life. That village life in Tobago is what shaped him, what built his character.
One of the things you were always taught in these parts when I grew up here is that you had to have ambition, meaning that you have to have a goal in life to be better than you are, or to be better than where you came from, to keep improving. It's not something I can change, it becomes part of me. It is what I am. This is the way I know it.
We eventually built a house in Tobago on the very land where he lived as a child, which is the land which his grandfather left to him. And when he goes to Tobago, it's like he's a different person. He's relaxed. He becomes a farmer. He becomes a gardener. He was at one time rearing sheep. And every morning, he gets up and sits down at the side of his bed and prays. Sits down every morning without fail, whether he gets up at 5 o'clock to go to golf, which is his passion, and or whether it's just during the week. But he gets up, sits down and prays. And that is something I know nobody would have known. He is happiest when he picks up a book on history, a book on art, because he loves art. He can't draw, he can't paint, but he's a collector of art. In fact, we are both collectors of art. Religion-wise, he was born a Methodist, but grew up in a Seventh-day Adventist environment, went to the Seventh-day Adventist church, which wasn't far from him. And when he was just about 5, because of his grandparents' belief in the Seventh-day Adventist church, he had to go to a Seventh-day Adventist school. So he had to walk miles and miles, miles and miles just to go to the Seventh-day Adventist school, which his grandmother wanted him to go to. But eventually, the grandfather decided, no, this is nonsense. You are going to go to the Mason Hall School. And that's how come he started at the Mason Hall Primary School. And from there, he went on to Bishop's.
Keith was always a very bright student. He was not afraid to challenge you as teacher. I rather like that because it helps you, the teacher, to be sharp. It helps you to do your research when you've got students who are going to challenge your points of view and seriously challenge your points of view with good, sound argument.
Keith is a very good listener. listener. He listens to you, but he argues as well. But he listens first, and any issue that he's not satisfied with, he's going to ask you a question. And if you like to argue, he's going to argue with you until that issue is resolved. But he listens to you. And I think that is a significant, part or factor that any good leader with the character to be with character.
Sometimes you say, you have people who are born leaders, and I think that is what he is. And when he was going to bishops, he was a head boy. And he has self-respect and respect for others. He is a man of integrity and honesty. He's dedicated. He's committed to what he does. And he accepts responsibility. He knows that as a leader, you have to take that responsibility and you don't pass it on to others as a matter of convenience.
I think what has made Keith Rowley the man he is today is his strength of character, very strong. Also, he's always had a vision of where he wants to be, and he was never afraid to pursue that vision with every ounce of his energy.
He knows what he stands for. He knows what his goals are. He knows what he wants to achieve. And there are going to be people who will be naysayers. There will be people who will have the worst to say about you. There will be people who want to bring about your downfall. But I think he is resolute in what he wants to achieve for the country, and with that in mind, he moves forward. They're not going to sleep. They're not going to sleep.